Hello there, guys. In this video today, we're going to be talking about HTTP requests. And requests is a very good library that you should understand as somebody who is identifying as a deep learning or AI or ML engineer or whatever thing you want to call yourself. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about what this method is. And in this video, it's just going to be a very short video where I'm going to explain all the necessary methods that you're going to be using. Now, before I actually get started, I want to actually explain something to you. Now, imagine you're training a machine learning model or a deep learning model, and you want to get images or you want to get data sets online. You want to get it online from a repository through a URL. Now, what a request library does is that it helps you to fetch those through that URL. It helps you to get those images, maybe as JSON file, as JavaScript object notation, and then you now check if it was actually able to get those image probably through what we call a status code, which I'm definitely going to be explaining. So this is going to be a very short uh, theoretical explanation of what the HTTP request method and library does. So if you actually found this video very useful, I want you to actually like this video, share this video, and one prayer for the YouTube algorithm is definitely going to go a very long way. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Like I said, this is just going to be just kind of slight theoretical explanation of what you need to know getting started with HTTP requests and mastering requests, okay, for deep learning. Now, so what this whole thing entails is just about how to fetch data for machine learning and deep learning. Now, one of the reasons why request matters is because I'm going to show you some kind of slight practicals here, but it's just going to kind of be a bit explanation of what the code looks like because you are writing a machine learning model. Now we want to get images of dogs. Maybe I could just come here. I want to get images of some of these dogs images. I'm going to say maybe dogs images or maybe images of dark skin diseases. Okay. Now, there could be a lot of things we want to get online, right? Let's say we want to get some of these manifestations, we want to kind of get some of these images of all of these sorts from a repository online. Now, what the request method does is that it kind of gives us that pathways to communicate with that particular through that URL. Now it now returns some kind of response to us. So it's something we're going to be talking about just in a jiffy. So it kind of connects our machine learning model to the real world data sources. So it kind of creates that API, application program interface, through the web server. Then it now returns the image repositories to us. So it's kind of automated, right? So programmatically, it collects those thousands of training samples without manual download. So I'm definitely going to show you, and this is an industrial standard that we do use. It's very human readable, and it is some kind of Pythonic syntax, which is written in Python already, and it's kind of the go-to library for HTTP communication in data science. Because of course, as a data scientist, you're going to be working with data. Some of these data are stored in some sort of URL somewhere, and you want to access that data, get it into your environment, and then probably perform some manipulations and all of that with it. Now, this is what the anatomy of this HTTP request is all about, right? When we talk about the HTTP request, kind of very important for you to understand that we are looking at what's actually really happening. Okay, what's really happening? We have what we call the get method. So what the get method is going to show, which I'm going to show you right now, is that the get method, it kind of triggers an action of, okay, go to this server and perform so and so. This is what we want you to do, basically. Just go to the server, perform this, and then return some response to us. And then there's some of other query parameters that we're going to be talking about, some of the query strings. I'm just going to show you what it is now. You just take, for example, now I come to Google now and I search maybe food. All right, so sorry about that. So it's just like, for example, maybe I come online right now and I search football, who is the best? Maybe I come up to football and answer who is the best player, okay, in the world now. Now, if you look at this particular response here now, right, you're going to see that you're going to see that you see some of these search queries, you see some of these, right? HTTP Google search, then question mark, query, Q. Now, all of these are now what query parameters, right? So I'm not really, some of them are actually strings, but I just want you to kind of understand the idea of what I'm talking about, right? So we've got some of these slash, which are some kind of endpoints of where this particular request that we are making is taking us to. Then it's kind of it's combined with some sort of query parameters, then joining types and strings and all of that, okay? So that's also another thing we need to understand whenever we talk about maybe HTTP requests. We're trying to pass some kind of maybe get insights through URL online and maybe any sort of something, right? So, but basically what you want to understand here is that each time you're going to make a HTTP request for an image that's stored in the data repository, right? The anatomy involves that you're definitely going to work with the get method because you have to pass it now, right? Okay, go and perform so and this action, return so and so for me, and then it's kind of going to now be easier for us to maybe pass to a JSON file, move to our dictionary, where we can now use those images to perform any sort of maybe action that we want to do. Now, there's also another thing that we're going to look at, which is called status code, because when you make that request, okay, pass this image for me, or maybe go and fetch so and so data from this database through this URL, there are tendencies that it might be successful and then maybe it might not be successful, or maybe there was a problem with the server and all of that while you made that request. So this is what the status code represents, right? So each time we try to fetch an image, we should always be rest assured that what the status code is going to tell us, okay, whether it was successful or if the server actually replied us with the status of what we really asked for, maybe what we are looking for. So that's why we have key status codes like 200. If it returns 200, that means it's widely considered a success. If it is 404, not found. You can always remember when you just come online and type something and you see 404, not found. Maybe if it's 500, then server error and all of that, okay? So we just want to kind of keep this very simple and quickly show you what you need to see. Now this is how we connect it to data here. We send the request, it handles the errors, and then it passes the JSON. So each of these steps in the pipeline now keeps our data flow clean and our machine learning training uninterrupted whenever we are going to start the practical. So this is just kind of a theoretical overlay of what you're going to be expecting. Now, whenever we want to fetch images, maybe during deep learning, one of the things you need to understand is that we kind of make some direct URL requests. So we use the .get method, then passing the URL inside of it. I'm going to show you that. And then we are looking for JPG, PNG, WebPG, JPEG also to retrieve any kind of raw binary data. And also sometimes maybe we might want to stream large files. You understand? Because mostly, I would mention this to you that whenever you're working in deep learning, you're kind of handling slots of images to train your data, get all the maximum best from it and all of that. So when you use some of this stream, right? So we could want to stream, each stream equals to truth. That means we want to download large images chunk by chunk and avoid maybe some kind of memory overload. Now, another thing there is that maybe we want to also save to training folder, right? So we write that response.content. There are methods inside of this HTTP request, library that we could use to, save our file, write it into the disk and all of that. So we use methods like with open, then we pass a placeholder image name, and then we use the argument WP now to build our label data set and all of that. So these are what we're going to do. Just think about it as, you want to perform your machine learning training now, and then you want to get information, the images online. You need to understand very good HTTP communication for you to be able to do that. Now, this is just kind of a short example that I'm going to give you I'm going to explain what this code is all about line by line. And let's take, for example, now we import request because that's the library that we want to work with, right? And then I just want you to kind of just pay attention to this now. Now, this is the URL, which is the file path. So it could be, for example, google.com or maybe google.com/ntdataset/images. And then you now instantiate that by saying response is equal to request.get, go to this URL and get it, right? Now then we now say if our response.status code is equal to 200, this is a Python syntax, and that's why we say it's Pythonic. Then with open cat wb as f, then we'll now say what? This is what we want to use to save the image, right? So we'll now say f.write, which is this file, anything you name this now, right? File.write response.content, which is all of those things now. We're going to write it in and then print image.c. So what this illustrates, basically, I've just talked about it here now, is that we're going to import requests, bring the library that's into the script, then we get the URL, we send a request to go and store the response. Then we check if it is 200, which means success, before we save it. Then we use save.content to build our local file. Now, let me just quickly show you that in a jiffy. I could just come here to create a folder, and I'm just going to kind of open a folder here. And of course, maybe I could just right click and just call it maybe June 2nd or something. Okay, let me just pass that, and then I'm just going to hit select folder. I'm going to ask it to save, and that's that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select my kernel. First of all, what's defining machine.active, but I mean, we could call it request, but I want to just do that simple. Notebook, okay, that's running, and just to be sure all of that's working fine. And so I'm just going to kind of expand this so it could detect my kernel. Just give it some moment to load. And all right, so I'm just gonna leave that. Okay. So select our Python environment. Our Python environment is going to be whichever one, right? So I could just select this. Oh, I don't know, it's still loading. This is just kind of, so we'll call this request tutorial. Request short tutorial, sorry, let's leave it that way. Okay. And I'm just going to create a Python file. So what are we going to do? What did I say we're going to do now? Probably just to be sure that's a Python file. So import request. Okay, and then of course we could just pass this as our URL. So any random URL. Now response is supposed to request get URL because this is the variable that is holding this. And then if our status code is 200, then it has to print, it has to go ahead and render because that is true. And then if it's not, then it has to maybe print any other thing. So probably could say elif if it's response dot status code. Let's say for example is equals to maybe 400 or maybe 500. So what do we think we're going to return? So we could print what is wrong with the server. Okay, but let's kind of run this now. I'll press Shift Enter. And so what the first thing is that's going to execute now is it says what error 404. So what it means is that it tries to go to this URL, right? Then when it went there, so since response is now holding this particular variable that has been instantiated for this object, now you now have response.status code equals to 200. So it was unsuccessful. Then it wasn't 500 because the server is working, and then it has to render what error. So that means what response of status code now means it printed out the status code, which is 404. Okay. So that's just what you need to actually understand about HTTP communication, particularly at this stage. In my next video, I'm going to be using it severally inside of my machine learning and deep learning project. And the reason why I'm actually explaining this now is so that you can actually have some kind of clear insight of what this is. So if you actually found this video very helpful and useful, I just wanted to kind of like this video and do share this video. It do help this channel grow really very well. So other than that, thank you very much for watching this video. See you on the next one. Bye.